So, for whoever is listening, I wanted to have a chat with Lucy, my lovely friend up in the north of Scotland, because I want her to tell you what she's been doing. Because I've been absolutely fascinated by following Luce on her journey working with animals. Now, most of you know who know me will know that I work with this little magic tool called the Healy, plus other things. I am absolutely besotted with this thing. It's my best friend. And Lucy also works with this, but she works with animals. And I have worked with animals, but I have to say, Luce is the expert. So I wanted to sort of share Lucy with everybody here who is watching, because what she can do to help your animals is just amazing. So, Lucy, first of all, what I'd really like to know, because I'm not really completely clear with this, is how you started to work with animals anyway, and not with frequency healing, I know, but you have been working with dogs and cats and horses for a very long time, haven't you?
Yeah, well, thank you for that lovely introduction, first of all. That was very nice.
Yeah.
I, when was it? 2003, I started working with dogs
Wow.
um, after a few failed. Um, I was going down other avenues, and my mum suggested, she said, why don't you start walking dogs to earn a bit of income while you're waiting for these other things to come off. I
Mm.
said, who's going to pay someone else to walk their dog for them? And
Or
oh
if they
my God,
do.
yeah. And oh my God, they do. But back then, there were literally two or three other companies on the vet board. That was it. I mean, now they're round. You can't even get a card on a vet board. But so I was one of the first in Hertfordshire. I lived in St Albans back then,
Mm.
which is where I'm from. And I mean, I did it all wrong the first time. I spent more time driving than walking dogs. I was thinking, oh, got to get a dog, got to get a dog. Or there's, and I was just grabbing clients from anywhere, and it was ridiculous. Anyway, I kind of saw the error of my ways eventually, and brought it all together. And finally, I had all my dogs in one little village where I lived, and they were literally a minute or two apart, and it was fantastic. And I did that until 2008. Well, let's backtrack a bit. I also started um, learning and studying canine behavior and psychology because I had adopted a cocker spaniel, which was a psychological mess, bless her.
Wow.
She was a dog walking client who I couldn't walk on the first two or three times I went to walk her because she wouldn't let me near her.
Oh,
I
wow.
mean, she, really,
Wow.
really bad, bless her. And it wasn't the owner's fault. She had rescued her literally a week or two before. That's a whole other story. But anyway, eventually she said, I don't have the time for this dog. Do you want it?
Wow.
And I eventually gave in, said yes. So she was my test study on my studying of canine behavior and psychology. And because, I mean, she made it quite easy for me because she was a bit of a nasty piece of work. It was easy to be strict with her. Whereas, you get a puppy, you're all gooey eyed and it all falls apart because, oh, it's so cute. Like, get away with it.
Yeah.
Whereas with this dog, uh, yeah, she wasn't quite like that. I mean, she was gorgeous to look at, but anyway, within
Yeah.
6 months, I was blowing raspberries on her tummy. She was completely trustworthy and uh, a changed dog. The only thing I couldn't get her over was her fear of children because I don't have kids. So
Yeah.
I couldn't desensitize her with that because I didn't know enough. I mean, I was in my 20s. I didn't know anyone with kids then. So I couldn't do that. So I just had to be careful with her with children. But other than that, yeah. And then in 2008, I moved to Wales on the strength of my studies of canine behavior and psychology. I became their
Mm.
head trainer for a
Wow.
high-end training establishment and boarding establishment in Wales. My team and I of two walked 60 dogs 3 times a day, off lead, all under control, no squabbles, no fighting, all responding to us. We did have the stress of meeting the public taken out because it was all private land. It was all dog proof, so no one could escape. But we had 100 acres of dog proof land, plus a further couple of 100 acres of woodland. It
That's
was
a dog's bliss. It's just
yeah, it was
what I like. My God,
dog heaven.
paradise for animals. Yeah.
Yeah, so you know, we did all the walking, the feeding, the cleaning, the training, from gun dog to swimming lessons to plane desensitization to you name it, we did it.
What a fantastic way of,
And
yeah.
it was, I mean, by far the best training I would ever have in a million years. So yeah, so I came back and continued my dog walking business, but added behavior and training to it. And then so I did that for 18 years altogether, from 2003, no, sorry, 15 years to 2018, when I moved to France very briefly, and then ended up coming back to the UK and landed in Scotland, which is where I am now. And
Slightly different to where you were before.
yeah, just a slight change,
Just a slight
just
change.
to
But
throw
I know you've
things
got,
up.
yeah, you've got dogs and cats of your own. But so just tell us how you, with all the experience that you've got, so you can really understand the dog's behavior from, a different level than most people can, which is amazing. So how has this shifted into you using Healy and healing them in a different way to what you've done before?
So, funnily enough, when you're doing, well, when I was treating dogs behaviorally, there were always some missing gaps. You know, you can understand a dog's psyche and you can ask it to do this ABC, but you can't get to the deeper level. You can only tell it what to do, direct it, give it guidance, give it love, and all the rest of it, which is brilliant. There's obviously absolutely a place for all that. But you can't get to the deeper level. You can't get to the underlying trauma, fear. You can't remove that. You can only help the owner guide the dog through it.
Yeah.
But you can't remove it
Yeah.
like the frequencies can.
Okay. Right.
So
This is taking it to another level then, the healing.
Yeah, a huge other level.
I know you've said, and you've been working with a horse, and I know you've worked with cats and dogs. So it's not that, any animal is an animal. They all need healing for different reasons. It really doesn't matter what they've got going on. You can work with anything really. So just tell us about this horse I know you've recently been working with.
So I've got this beautiful, gentle, sweet-natured 30-year-old ex-show jumper.
Wow.
And she has got Cushing's, so she's in a lot of discomfort, a lot of things going on with her organs. And because of all that, her owner was having to go to the vet and get prescription meds and went down that route. And obviously, they don't taste that good. So she was stuffing them in her food. And eventually, over time, Moosh, the horse, was beginning to say, I don't want to eat that because I know you're hiding tablets in it.
Oh my God, they're not stupid.
No, just like dogs and cats do. They're all going,
Not going to have that, yeah. Wow.
So bless her heart, she was, eating less and less and less.
Oh.
She was quite stiff. She's always been head shy, not letting anyone, stroke her nose or go near her head or anything like that.
Wow.
But all that changed when I put this on her.
That's amazing.
Literally within 2-3 minutes of wearing the Healy. This is an in-person session I did with her. She was nudging me to stroke her head, and her owner was just stunned because she'd never seen that before.
Wow.
I mean, she's not too bad with her owner, head shy wise, because obviously she's known her for years.
Yeah.
But anyone else, it's an absolute no-no. So she was, yeah, she was like, what?
Wow.
So yeah, and she was then encouraging me to stroke, so she allowed me to give her head a good scratch.
Wow. And you
Um,
actually physically put the Healy on her chest or on her bridle or
I
something
put a, yeah, I put it on
on her head collar.
her
Okay.
head
Right.
collar.
It's on it. Wow. And how many sessions have you done? I mean, how long did it take for you to see a result as such? Was it pretty quickly?
4 days. I
4 days.
mean, it was 5 minutes for the head nuzzling,
Oh, God.
within 5 minutes, and there was lots of what I've coined bliss blinking going on.
I love this term that you've coined. Yeah. So tell us about bliss blinking. Yeah.
So I discovered bliss blinking with my dog Inca.
Mm. I
Um,
remember. Yeah.
yeah, I sent you a video, didn't I?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
I, I, I don't know if it was the first time I sent her frequencies. I can't remember, but it was definitely the first
It
time
was
I
right at
noticed
the
this.
beginning. I remember. Yeah.
It was right at the
It
beginning.
was at the beginning. Yeah.
And she was sitting down, and I started sending her frequencies, and she just sat there. I mean, when an animal is relaxed, their eyes are relaxed, just like us. If we're startled, our eyes are on stalks,
Yeah.
and if we're relaxed, then our eyes show it. And it's the same with animals. And she was just sitting there lapping all up, blink, 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 and yawning. So yawning is a adrenaline release,
Yeah.
and blinking is a sign of peace, tranquility, bliss, and just
Right.
peace. So yeah, so that was the first time I spotted it. And then I started treating a cat, and he did the same. And that was incredible because cats do something called slow blinking.
Mm.
And slow blinks are a sign of trust. So a cat will only slow blink at you if he trusts the human in front of it,
Wow.
or another cat.
Wow.
But if you want your cat to trust you, you want to start slow blinking at them. And
Brilliant.
it wasn't, because again, I hadn't noticed this on my cats because I hadn't watched them when I sent them frequencies, so I missed this stage. But
Mm.
this cat in Brighton that I've been treating, distant obviously, I asked the owner to press record on the video, asked her to record the session, and I asked her to press record before I started sending the frequencies, just so that we could see if he was going to bliss
Wow.
blink. And he
Mm.
did. And there is a subtle difference between a slow blink and a bliss blink, but it's noticeable. And I didn't realize cats did that. So that was a huge discovery, and just wonderful to see. Just to see this cat, you could literally, I pressed start, and literally as soon as I pressed start, the cat yawned and started bliss blinking.
It's
And
just
it just
amazing.
doesn't stop, and it's just
Oh,
blinking,
I,
blinking.
I just love it. And I just think, this, I mean, it saves a lot of vets fees. Let's be honest, because
Yeah.
you just got to keep pumping them with meds, which, sometimes they may need them, but we know also those are going to create other problems within the physical body with all the
Exactly.
organs, etc., etc. It's not necessarily going to clear the emotional causes and the traumas and the wounds and whatever has happened, just like
Mm,
us with humans.
mm.
So I think, what you're doing now is just so precious and it's so valuable. And, I can't wait to hear and see more of these bliss blinks and the results that you're getting from the different animals. So
Yeah. I
there's
mean,
so many different, yeah, sorry, go
quickly,
on.
going back to Moosh quickly,
Yes, please
the
tell us.
horse. So within 5 minutes, she was allowing me to touch her head.
Wow.
Um, and she was doing lots of adrenaline releasing, lots of bliss blinking, and lots of shaking out adrenaline as well. So there was a lot of release going on.
Wow.
And then within 4 days, she was eating again.
Wow.
So that's what happened on the fourth day. She started eating again, and her owner noticed that she's striding out longer strides. So she's not as stiff, she's more relaxed, she's happier. And now, after 2 weeks of therapy with her, she's neighing again. And apparently, she hasn't neighed since Christmas, and that's a happy sign. So she's,
Oh, it's so
I
lovely.
know.
Wow. Oh, so Lucy, where can people, if people want, because I know we're all passionate about our animals. You know, we are, if we have animals, we're generally people who really love our animals and we want the best for them. So
Mm.
how can people get hold of you? This is most important because the work that you're doing may seem a little strange for some people, but what I would suggest if this is completely new to you is please just have a word with Lucy. I'm sure she'll give you some, time to chat, see what's going on for your animal, but especially if you've got an animal who has had issues for a long time, the vet's not necessarily going to be able to help that. I actually saw an
Mm.
article, Lucy, you've just reminded me, it was in the mail. In fact, somebody cut it out for me and sent it to me, and I was like, can't believe this. That apparently now, I don't know if you've heard this, that animals are being put on antidepressants.
Oh God, yeah. It's
And I was just
horrendous.
like, you can't be serious.
Yeah. And that is actually a pretty simple fix on Healy, isn't it?
Absolutely, without any doubt at
It's
all. And the
it's
thing
just
is,
straight through.
yeah, absolutely. And working with children, like I've done, used to work with a lot of children. Children and animals are generally much quicker to heal than we are as adults because they don't have the emotional
They don't
baggage that we
fight it.
carry around and they just
Mm.
accept it. So they actually respond very, very quickly. So, yeah, so please let's go back to where people can get hold of you. And I know you've got your QR code there, so that's probably the easiest thing, is it, for people to just tune in?
Yeah, it's not live yet. I'm not quite happy with
Okay,
the website, but you can get me on Facebook at Zen Tails Therapies. Um,
brilliant.
and I can leave my phone number,
Yeah,
but
I would suggest that connect with Luce on Facebook. Have you got an email, Lucy, that you would you?
yes, that is up and running, I think. It's hello at zentailstherapies.co.uk.
Perfect. So hello at zentalestherapy.co.uk. Bloomin' brilliant. I am excited for these lovely four-legged friends who are having the
Um,
pleasure of having, you know, what we get to experience every single day. They are now getting to experience that. So if you've got
yeah,
an animal yourself, anybody watching, then please get in touch with Luce, because you know what? Your animal does not need to be in trauma. It does not need to be nervous or anxious and suffering in any way, which of course
mm,
makes your life much easier as well.
yeah.
See,
It's just so lovely to be able to see the animals receive it.
it's just
Physically see
beautiful.
it. It blows my mind every time. It's just amazing.
Just keep going and keep telling us also about the next lot of stories you have
I will.
on different
I will.
animals. And yeah, I'm sure I know you've got videos, so it'd be great to see some more videos with it, them, in action with the frequencies. It'd be great to see the bliss blink.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
really good.
Lovely. Thank you, Luce. And
Thank you so much, Fiona. Thanks for having me on.
most welcome. If anybody's got any other questions, of course, either contact me and I can put you in touch with Luce, or contact Luce directly. All right. Thank you very much. Speak to you all soon. Bye for now.